Welcome to the Great Awakening Reports Connected Series podcast. Hi, Truth Seekers. I'm Mark, founder and publisher of the Great Awakening Report, and your host for this transformative journey. The Connected Series is designed to help you connect the dots to these extraordinary times and awakening and change. Each episode, we explore timely, eye-opening topics featured in our monthly, weekly reports, Truth Seeker briefings, and special reports, offering deeper insight, clarity, and higher perspectives. I'm honored to be joined today by my co-host, Craig Cook, a lifelong truth seeker who brings wisdom, lived experience, and conscious insights to these conversations. Hi, Craig. Welcome to the podcast. Grateful to have you with me today.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Oh, I'm grateful to be here. It's a beautiful blue sky day, and it's just great to be here, getting ready to tackle another fascinating topic.
That's great. All right, in today's episode, we're diving deep into a new special report, The Heart of a Volunteer. We'll explore the deeper reasoning, guiding principles, and higher purpose behind volunteerism as a conscious practice, one that fosters personal awakening, inspires unity consciousness, and helps sustain elevated states of awareness in everyday life. So let's get started. The Heart of a Volunteer, this is our title block, The Path of a Conscious Volunteer, and, and three keys creating 5D consciousness. Let's review some key terms: service to others, sharing our gifts, giving our time, creating authentic change. The heart of a volunteer is never measured in size, but by the depth of the commitment to make a difference in the lives of others. This is by Deanne Hollis. The Heart of a Volunteer special report is one of three core principles or reports guiding you through the reasons, purpose, and benefits of being consciously awakened. When approached with a service to others mindset, volunteering becomes a transformative journey towards community awareness, fostering unity, oneness, and equality. The conscious volunteer, guided by heart-centered awareness and a deep connection to the Creator, is motivated by a genuine desire to serve others, uplift the community, and align with a higher purpose. This path is characterized by an unwavering compassion and empathy. Actively engaging in conscious volunteering guides individuals to attain and sustain a 5D frequency, facilitating spiritual growth and propelling their journey towards ultimate ascension. In essence, the path of a conscious volunteer is an inward odyssey through the heart towards personal transformation, creating an outward expression of loving service to others. By aligning with the principle of conscious volunteering, seeking souls can synchronistically come together, creating 5D unity consciousness, self sustaining and self perpetuating organizations, tribes, and communities.
That's great, Mark. Let's talk about the definition of the heart of a conscious volunteer as the report goes on. So, a conscious awakened soul is acting in the now moment and in a compassionate manner to volunteer, not merely working as an expression of goodwill. Conscious volunteers guided by a heart connected experience with the Creator, which the Creator has gifted us with a free will universe of choices, lessons, and experiences. And that gift was not based on a merit system, but more on the Creator's unconditional love and desire for experience. So, a conscious volunteer is a person who volunteers for service to others and not service to self, but to offer voluntarily oneself as a volunteer, one that voluntarily undertakes a responsibility to others without request, obligation, or an interest, and perhaps even pays the debt of another and is denied reimbursement from segregation, renders a service, or takes part in a transaction without really having any concern or interest, and really just giving freely without that consideration, expectation of consideration, let's say.
How does volunteering help you become more conscious? If ever you've if ever offered a helping hand without expecting in return, you're likely to experience a deep sense of fulfillment and inner peace. This unselfish act generates a warm, elevated vibrational state. And this is within your heart, something often referred to as a positive psychology or as the helper's high. Yeah, I want one of those.
We all do.
We all do. Volunteering not only uplifts others, but it also raises your own frequency, supporting greater emotional well being and conscious awareness. How does the volunteer relate to our creator, and what was the creator's plan or design? you know what I've found in a lot of my research over the years is that in all 35 texts, spiritual texts, with all religions, you always find something about love, generosity, sharing your gifts, helping others. It's a kind of an integrated um, given that the creator designed that as part of our loving experience and our relationship with others.
Yeah, that's really great, Mark. I love it. Yeah, and we can see the act of volunteering as altruistic rather than a sacrifice. While those terms could be related, there's a nuance there, a subtle difference in connotation. And let's dive deeper into that. So volunteering, we can say, is the act of offering one's time, skills, or services, right, willingly and without being compelled or coerced. And it's really driven by a desire to contribute to a cause, whether it's to an organization or a community. And volunteers, they typically engage in activities that align with their interests or values. And it's really seen as a positive and fulfilling endeavor and brings personal satisfaction and a sense of purpose. But now let's take a look at sacrifice and what's involved there. Now, sacrifice, on the other hand, that implies giving up something valuable or important for the sake of a greater cause. So it could come down to relinquishing something of personal interest or desire or possessions. And, it could still be noble in a sense, but it carries a heavier emotional or personal cost compared to volunteering. And it may even involve some sort of hardship or difficulty and can be associated with a sense of selflessness, right? So, to summarize the comparisons between the two and the nuances there, volunteering involves giving one's time and effort willingly, but sacrifice implies giving up something of personal value, having a high cost to it, put it that way. So while volunteer is generally a positive and fulfilling experience, sacrifice may involve a more profound commitment and personal cost. So that's a big differentiator right there. I'll say it again, that sacrifice may involve a more profound commitment and personal cost. And both concepts can be admirable, and just depending on the context and the motivations behind the actions, not one's more right or the other. It just depends on the person's circumstances and where they're setting out to do.
Let's try to explain, the heart of a conscious volunteer. It refers to deep motivation and intention behind someone's decision to volunteer, from a spiritual context. It encompasses their genuine desire to serve others, contribute to the well being of the community, and the connection to something greater than themselves. Conscious volunteers often engage in activities such as providing emotional support, positive leadership, or even creative meditation sessions, organizing spiritual events, and offering guidance and even counseling. Um, their actions are driven by a sense of compassion and empathy, and the belief in the power of spirituality in order to bring positive change to individuals and society as a whole.
Yeah, that's cool, Mark. And they've defined in the report that there's these three types of conscious volunteers. The three types of volunteering could be considered social action, education, and conservation. And the activities, those volunteering activities, can vary by country, but they all focus on a common good. And people participating in the social activities and the act of volunteering, it's because they believe it's the right thing to do. Right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and let me add to that. Let's talk about the four basic elements of volunteerism. Selflessness is at the heart of volunteerism, lies selflessness. the genuine willingness to act without personal gain, driven by compassion or empathy for others. And then there's sacrifice, which is selflessness again, naturally leads to sacrifice, as volunteers often give their time, energy, and resources to support causes greater than themselves. Then service. Central to volunteerism is the act of service, offering meaningful contributions and that benefit individuals, communities, even companies. We're going to introduce that as we go through this report. But even as your businesses are changing today in how they understand service and how we're reacting with each other in business, braving service, the attitude of service into business. So I want to make sure I make that point. And then also support. And support, finally, volunteerism involves providing consistent support. What is support? Support is standing by someone, being there, letting them know that you're there, even though maybe they don't ask. But it's that having that group behind you, supportive. It's like a family. What do families do? The essential thing is support each other, the family unit. Well, part of being part of an organization, a volunteer organization, or volunteering yourself is really offering that support that really helps build a wonderful community sense of unity, and support does that. So, and also, I want to kind of finish this part, but I want to add the personal benefits to conscious volunteering. And this is really interesting because we don't do this to the benefit, but these are the natural things that happen to even to your body chemistry. There's longevity, there's improved emotional state, there's a stronger immune system, there's reduced risk of disease, improved self-confidence, and obviously personal overall fitness, and creating an overall stronger support system, which is what I talked about. So I think these personal benefits go far beyond what we can imagine. The mind, body, spirit, if you will. It's a complete. It enhances all three of those areas that impact our life, and it makes them stronger.
Yeah, and I think the audience may be wondering, like, well, how is that? Like, how can that be? How can volunteering benefit my immune system? Right? It may sound a little out there for people, but I like to put it in terms of traditional Chinese medicine and how their viewpoint is. Yeah, as we're volunteering, we're raising our vibrational frequency because we're getting fulfillment from that act. We're volunteering because we have a passion for it, and there's joy in the act of volunteering, and we're getting fulfilled. And that's raising our vibrational frequency. Everything's information expressed as energy vibrating at various frequencies, right? So as we elevate our vibrational frequency, we're also generating a stronger energetic state with our energetic anatomy. So we have these these fields outside of our body, Wei Qi fields in Chinese medicine, or you can call them auric fields, energy fields. Just whatever label is used from various cultures and places. But there's these energetic fields around us, and they get strengthened by this higher vibrational frequency. And those fields and then the energetic systems and our energetic anatomy inside of us, it all gets strengthened, and that strengthens our immune system. It helps keep out pathogens, actually, uh, that we may encounter from our day-to-day environmental walk. So just want to add that little context there because people might have been wondering, like, well, that's kind of a disconnected statement. How is that? But it's true. You do good things, you feel good, and it just helps you from a longevity standpoint.
That's a very important connection, Craig. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Well, let's move on to what makes a good conscious volunteer, and there's 10 qualities to look out for when recruiting. So one that quality is the number one quality is unconditional passion. I just talked about passion, right? And we're talking about the heart of a volunteer, right? And it's interesting because the energy of passion resides in the heart, and so the number one quality being that unconditional passion. The energy of unconditional love resides in the heart as well. So that unconditional passion, unconditional love, really can bring about joy and fulfillment, and where a volunteer will really do their best at whatever activity they're partaking in. And then two is reliability. You know, many nonprofits they can't operate without their volunteer army, right? But those volunteers need to be reliable, because even though uh, a nonprofit is a business not meant for profit, but it still needs to function. It has bills to pay, and it has goals and objectives, and people need to be reliable, right? So without reliability, things just don't work. And along with that, number three is teamwork. So each person needs to be reliable because they're acting as a team. Because it's not just one person; it's a team that makes the dream work, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. And then four is patience. That's required because as a volunteer, people have limited time, and our time is so stretched today with all the distractions and busyness of our daily lives, that volunteering could be argued that it takes even greater effort today. And sometimes patience is needed to where maybe things aren't getting done as fast, but it's because people have limited time. So a little patience is in order, with that teamwork aspect. And also, five, creativity is needed because of limited time to execute on activities. Well, sometimes there needs to be creative solutions, like how could we go about this different? How can we get this done faster? Let's innovate, be creative, and let's approach this. How could we solve this problem that we're setting out to really produce a positive outcome for the community that's being served, right? And then six, energetic, having the right energy into it. It's people that have a healthy state of mind, body, and spirit, and that leads on to number seven, a positive attitude. And being a volunteer and having a bad attitude just isn't going to work. You have to have a positive attitude because, again, time's limited. You got to have patience at times, and all the things that we're talking about. Just need to be positive. And why not? Because you're doing something good and helping others, right? And that leads to number eight, a willingness to help, and just really acting as a team to serve the community, the people that you set out to serve. And there has to be a very strong willingness to help, not only the people that you're setting out to serve, but your team as well, because at the end of the day, you're all working as a team to serve your targets. And then nine is that observer awareness. We've talked about the observer effect and being an observer in a prior report and podcast, and that's important here. It just helps you operate and function in your relations with others and getting things done. And then 10, forgiveness and releasing practice, which we also talked about before in a previous report podcast. And that's important too, again, because we want to keep things positive and keep moving forward. So I don't know if you have any thoughts there to add on that, Mark, but that's the way I see it.
No, that's very good. You covered it really well. Let's talk about some of the reasons and purpose behind volunteering. Volunteering can provide a health boost, which we're talking about, and your self confidence, self esteem, and life satisfaction. And then you're doing a good job for others in the community, which provides a natural sense of accomplishment. Your role as a volunteer can also give you a sense of pride and identity. So let's jump into the seven, habits of highly effective volunteers. I think this is really a good list. It is very, very informative for me to understand what really makes up an effective volunteer. The proactiveness is number one. And what that means is you see things. You see things in your projects. You see things to avoid. You can kind of be proactive in solving problems. And I think that's a great habit to incorporate. One is everything begins with the end in mind. And I used to, in my business practices, to always think of the end, what I want to create, what does it look like? And then I work backwards to manifest. And I can see problems along the way as if I know what I'm really trying to create and what I'm trying to build. And then the third is put first things first. And that's really natural. Sit down and organize yourself. What if I'm going to help? What comes first? What do I need to put first? And then the fourth, which is the win-win-win, is really, really crucial because there's always the person you're helping and what's directly in front of you and what you're doing. So there's the win-win. But the third win is the institution or the team or the people around you or your family that sees what you're doing. So that third win is not just it's not nebulous, but it's really defined in so many different ways where people and other people are involved and there's a team and that brings me into number five, which is synergy. Synergy is how you work together and how you pull teams together and how you sense that synergy of everybody, what their responsibilities are and what they're going to do and follow through. So synergy, I think, is very, very important. And then number six is seek to understand, then be understood. So what that's really saying is come in with a listening ear and not with you're trying to solve everybody's problems and what you know, but seek first to understand and to listen and to comprehend and get everybody's side, and then later down the road contribute what your thoughts are once you understand everybody's point of view. And then last, the sharpens the saw, which really means it sharpens your skills. Everything you're doing heightens, kind of a sharpening of your tool set, and you're learning more as you go. You're learning more about the human condition because you're helping others. And I always had a sense of, you think my problems are big. We all do think our problems are overwhelming. But
Yes, for sure.
when we start helping others, we realize, wait a second, it's never your problems are never as bad as, sometimes what's going on around you or the world. So it really gives you a healthy perspective to get grounded again and understand what life really is and why we're volunteering from the very beginning. And this is some people really, really need our help. So volunteering is important for all of us to do. We all have special gifts to share, and we are able and to help others. So I think it's something that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's great, Mark. I really like the win-win-win. Yeah, that's a philosophy I've had in mind for quite a long time, especially in the business I ran. A lot of people think win-win, but then they neglect other parties that are a part of the equation. So I really liked what you were talking there about win-win-win. It's really a great way to operate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about different types of volunteering for things that you can do in your community. There's the local library. They need people. They need help. There's if you have kids, just being a chaperone on a field trip. I've done it in the past with my kids and some field trips, and it was actually really fun. I mean, some people might think, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Bunch of kids and yeah, I can't handle that. But it's fun. You going to a neat place and just being around young energy and your own kids. It's something that you get a lot of fulfillment out of. Also, just any sort of local nonprofit. There's so many nonprofits, and there's even associations of nonprofits that you can get a good idea of what's out there. Also, animal shelters. I mean, who doesn't like dogs and cats and all our wonderful pets, right? Being able to put in your time because the animals need it. I have one of my sisters. She volunteers for a horse rescue ranch, and she gets all kinds of fulfillment out of it. It's really great. There's community centers. There's being a lifeguard or a crossing guard or a food bank. There's just so much out there. These are just some ideas. It can be an exhaustive list. There's plenty of opportunities out there. So, Mark, what's the next topic here?
Well, let's jump into what motivates volunteers or a motivator. The primary motivator for volunteers is an authentic, unconditional love for humanity, often expressed through a strong sense of civic mindedness. This is deeply rooted in compassion, drives individuals to serve others without expecting anything in return. And in addition to this core motivation, other influential factors include family values, culture, personal traditions, and the guidance or inspiration of other mentors who share their own volunteer experiences and perspectives that really kind of get people going and get people motivated. Together, these influences share a volunteer's desire to contribute meaningfully to their community and also to the greater good.
Yeah, that's great. And the next thing is, what do people hope to gain from volunteering? So, people, even if they're not planning on changing careers, although that is a thing, a lot of people are burned out these days on what they're doing and what really matters. But even if you're not planning on that change, volunteering gives you an opportunity to practice important skills used in the workplace. Like the stuff we talked earlier about teamwork, and there's also communication and problem solving, project planning, like you mentioned, working backwards, right? That's great project planning there, task management, organization. But I think a really big deal about what people can gain from volunteering is just a sense of fulfillment. Being able to do good in the world, and there's just so much fulfillment that can come of that. And again, that heart of a volunteer, that energy of contentment, of fulfillment, of purpose resides in the heart, and it can go a long way for yourself if you choose to volunteer.
I like that. That's well said. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's move into the way of a conscious volunteer, and this is interesting. This goes a little bit deeper. We're trying to dive a little bit deeper to all the aspects of a conscious volunteer. It's basically the path or the approach taken by individuals who choose to engage in volunteer work with a conscious spiritual focus. It involves dedicating one's time, skills, and energy to serving others, obviously, but in ways that align and with their spiritual beliefs and values. The conscious volunteer often work within organizations, community centers, internet-based consciousness platforms, and nonprofit groups that focus on providing support, assistance, and care to those in need. They may engage in activities such as visiting the sick and the elderly, or offering counseling or spiritual guidance, or organizing and participating in ceremonies, rituals, and providing humanitarian aid in areas of afflicted natural disasters and conflicts. So, this really covers the spectrum. But the way of a conscious volunteer is characterized by a deep sense of compassion, empathy, and a desire to make a positive difference in the lives of others. It involves that selflessness that we discussed, and humility, and a commitment of serving the greater good. Conscious volunteers often find fulfillment in a sense of purpose in their work, as they believe they are contributing to the well being and conscious growth of individuals and communities. And last note, it's important that specific practices, and that's why we call it a practice, and beliefs associated with the way of conscious volunteering is that it carries greatly and dependent on one's even ritual or spiritual, religious or spiritual traditions. Um, Different faiths may have different guidelines and rituals and principles that follow, that form or shape the volunteer's work that he's undertaking. So the path or the way, it's individual, and that's the point. It's an individual journey. It's your journey. We're trying to give you some kind of boundaries or guidelines to kind of pick up on that will enhance as you begin to look at becoming a conscious volunteer. But I think the path is it's uniquely yours, and that's what's beautiful about it. It's your journey, and as you begin to volunteer with different organizations, there's no journey like yours, and that's what's so uniquely special. It's you own it, and you created it, and you manifest it.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking about your journey, it reminds me of Martin Luther King Jr. had a great quote where he says, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" So yeah, it's your journey, but what are you doing for others along your journey? It's just something that's really great. I mean, he has many great quotes, but that's a good one in the context of what we're talking about. And an aspect of a topic that leads into is service to others versus service to self. So let's explain that. So service to others, that refers to actions and efforts that are focused on helping and benefiting others, right? It involves selflessness, empathy, a genuine desire to make a positive impact on the lives of others. And then service to health self, on the other hand, it refers to actions and efforts that are primarily motivated by personal gain, self-interest, or the pursuit of one's own desires and needs. It's characterized by a lack of consideration for the well-being and needs of others in general. But I would like to interject here because I have a personal philosophy that I wrote about in my book, where I have a quote, my own personal quote, that says, "Be of service to self so you can be of service to others for a lifetime." And what I mean by that is it's very noble to be of service to others, right? Um, but if you're not taking care of yourself, you end up burning out and you just don't have the energy. You can go into bad health and you're just not able to perform like you used to. And what is truly being of service that enables you to be of service to self is by taking care of yourself. So you got to be of service to self first, and then so that you can be of service to others for a lifetime and on your journey provide the maximum value possible. That service to self, when people talk about that, what's kind of missing there is the service to self at the expense of others, as opposed to service to others, right? And that's a lot. Like some people have this service to self mentality, but it's not in the guides of service to self to take care of yourself so you can be of service to others for a lifetime. It's more about let's just take care of me so I can fulfill my selfish needs. Very egoic, survival, lower self type mindset. So volunteering, being of service to others, what can that say about you? It shows that you have a conscious mindset. And if you like to volunteer, it's a sign that you can never stop learning and growing. And generally, volunteering helps with, again, we talked about developing new skills, but also uncovering new passions. And you're learning new things, not only about yourself, but also about the world around you.
It's great, Craig. I like your explanation. Really defining the service to self as, you really do. You got to take care of yourself first because
Yeah,
you're no help to anybody if you can't take care of yourself.
that's right.
That's very, very important point. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. That's a quote by Albert Einstein. There's no exercise better for the heart than reaching down and lifting people up. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's great.
When we give openly and cheerfully, we are accepting gracefully also. Everyone is blessed. And I think that's the way to look at it. You are not fully living today until you have done something for someone uh, who can never repay you. And I think that's another way to think about it. It's really when you understand that what you're doing and how you follow through with people and follow through with your volunteering. I think that's an important thing to keep in your mind. A kind gesture can reach a wound that only compassion can heal. And I really love this one because most of this journey, is really healing, a lot of healing, the soul, the mind, the emotions, the emotional body. There's just so many things going on in this 3D experience that require healing. But just understanding what a kind gesture and the power of a kind gesture and its ability to heal others, I think it's amazing. So it's something that I've remember and I think about quite often. Your giving inspires others to volunteer. I think that's important.
100%. And that leads to the next question that's being asked of me here is, why do I love being a volunteer personally? And I'd say for the past 30 years, I've been a volunteer in various capacities in different ways, usually serving on the board of organizations. I was served as vice president of the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of California for several years. And that was, we did a lot of great stuff. I actually started a scholarship program for Native students to go to college. And at the time, I think we only had $1,500 to give away. We gave $500 to three students. And now, that organization still exists. I actually went to one of the events about a year ago, and they're giving away close to $100,000 worth of scholarships now. It's awesome to
Wow.
see.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's amazing.
yeah. It's really super cool. And when I saw that last year and just seeing how it's grown and the students that are receiving the awards and talking to them, I got to sit next to one. It just there's so much fulfillment gained from that, and that's why I love being a volunteer. Is just for that reason right there. And also uh, served on like an industry related organization, an association in the realm of advertising. And that was more along the lines of the benefits that we were talking about earlier, just as far as, work, communication, and teamwork, and those skills that you gain, and also networking too. There's a lot of benefits, but we were doing good for our industry, meeting great people and doing good for the people that are within our industry and our local communities. And that was good. I'm actually on a board right now for a nonprofit that helps at-risk youth.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
yeah, and it's super cool. And there's it's an early stage, but there's so many great initiatives that are being planned, and to really help develop youth that just don't have the upbringing that others do, and they have these challenges. They're at risk, right, and of going down a very negative, dark path, and really giving them an opportunity to be empowered and become self-reliant, and gain valuable skills to foster that. So all that is, it just feels good. It's like what we've been talking about. It's not only the physical and mental benefits, but even in a strange way, can help alleviate stress, because you're
That's
passionate
right.
about it, and you're doing good. It makes you feel good.
That's right. Even in my experience, I'll share I did a lot of charity work in my younger years. And then as I got older, I ended up mentoring. And then I probably give multiple hours away for free to coach people, consult with people, helping them, especially in this time that we're going through right now, trying to understand what's going on and what's happening, and really getting prepared. So I'm spending a lot more time with individuals and people and giving my time that way. Definitely in the later years of my life. So that's really been interesting, kind of a journey going through all the different aspects of volunteering. But I prefer now the one-on-one. I prefer, either small groups but just, and where I can really explore some of the things I've learned and share that information. So yeah, it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
Yeah, and you're really good at that from my firsthand experience. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks. All right, well, let's jump into finding your tribe through volunteering. You know, there's three key practices that we're putting forward, both in our consulting and some of the other and all the work that I do. There's three key components in how you either grow spiritually or how you develop. And one is the three practices that are primary, and definitely the Great Awakening Report and what we do. It's the self observer, the awareness, the consciousness practice. And we've done some work on that already. You and I have done a presentation and a podcast, and then the forgiveness and releasing practice. And then what we're working on today is the heart of a conscious volunteer practice. And then we have community unity, which we're going to kind of move into now, which I think really refers to the collective awareness and the shared sense of connectedness among individuals within a community or an office or a organization. It involves a heightened understanding that the well-being of the community is intertwined with the well-being of each individual member. Now, this is very interesting as to, we're only as healthy as the person that's the most sick or the most problems or whatever. And so if we take it bottom up in regards to let's try to heal the company from those that are having the most difficulties and challenges, and that we work as a team to help those people, and that provides the unity, awareness, and consciousness that really binds us together, and I think really manifest that company, that organization, that charity, or whatever you're trying to accomplish. And definitely volunteerism, it really sets a whole nother level of accomplishment and manifestation in what you're trying to do. So I'm going to take the first one, and we're going to kick these back and forth, but just kind of all the different examples of unity consciousness. But I'll start off with there's the interconnectedness, there's the recognition of all the interconnectedness of nature and community members. So it's a nature. It's part of nature. It's part of the human condition, is how we're all connected, and we're actually pushed to actually think we're not, and that's part of the conditioning and the programming. When what we're doing right now is we're really instituting and we're bringing back just learning about how we're connected in so many ways as human beings, and the greater understanding of that connection really helps us understand we're all more alike than we're different. And then each person's actions and well-being are seen as integral to the overall health and vitality of the community.
Yeah, that's great, Mark. Next one is shared values. And any sort of organization or community, when they share common values, goals, and aspirations together, they can work as one mind. And then when they unify as one mind with these shared values, they can accomplish anything.
Yeah, that's great. Then we have empathy and compassion. Members of the community demonstrate empathy, compassion towards each other, including sharing their joys, sorrows, and challenges. And this is part of, knowing about each other in your company, your business and organization, and knowing when they're having challenges, and just lending a hand, just or telling, hey, I'm behind you, or hey, anytime you want to talk. This promotion of just this openness and learning about each other and aware of what you're going through, that creates a bond within any organization that really takes people to a whole nother level of, instead of that being a place that I really don't like to go to and I go to just to make money. I want to get up every morning and I want to go in there because that's the most exciting place to work or to volunteer. That's the kind of environments that we want to create. And this leads to a mutual support and care.
Yeah, that also leads to the next one, which is collaboration. It really fosters collaboration, which is super important with its community unity consciousness thinking. You know, the collaboration involves cooperation between individuals working together towards common objectives, and it's really leveraging the collective strengths of the group and their resources for the greater good. It's about being able to solve problems, because when you operate in silos, you can only go so far. But when you have great minds coming together to collaborate and problem solve and work things through, just great things happen. So it's super important. It's so super important for the work of a volunteer as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. Next is inclusivity, and it emphasizes inclusivity as far as acknowledging the diversity within the community and appreciating the unique contributions of each member. So, part of that is really when you recognize it takes a team, it takes different skill sets, it takes different people. And when you're really understanding and look at that and emphasize that diversity, and you welcome it and embrace it, I think it's very, very important that shifts kind of the community connectedness and awareness, and also the energy. It raises the energy level of that whole organization.
100%. Yeah, this next one, responsibility and accountability. This to me is huge, and ways to find here that there's a sense of shared responsibility and accountability for the well-being of the community, because it's a team, and there needs to be that shared sense of responsibility and accountability. And what I've noticed over the years, running a company and just interactions with various organizations, people, situations, that unfortunately there's a lack of accountability out there. That's pretty astonishing, actually. So to me, this one's huge. The more people can be responsible for what their duties are and be accountable, because we're all human, we can make mistakes. But hey, when you make a mistake, you just got to make it right. And that goes for the world of volunteering as well, just to be responsible and accountable.
Next, we have communication. Open, transparent communication is encouraged, allowing for free exchange of ideas, concerns, feedback, and fostering a sense of trust and community members. That goes along with what Craig was saying about responsibility and accountability.
Yes, yes, thank you. And then next is celebration of achievements. Successes and achievements are celebrated collectively, reinforcing a positive community spirit. And these shared celebrations contribute to a sense of pride and unity, and that's important. People have a limited time. They're giving what they can, doing what they can, and a win's a win, and it should be recognized and celebrated.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's really important. Next, we have resilience in times of challenges or crisis. Community unity consciousness enables communities to respond cohesively, and there is a collective determination to overcome obstacles and emerge stronger because of the crisis or the event together.
Yeah, that's big because these people that need help, what um, the volunteers are doing, yeah, there's a sense of resilience that they have. So there's a sense of resilience volunteers need to have, just like the people they serve. It's important. The next is village engagement. Um, Members actively participating in community affairs and decision making processes, and civic engagement becomes a shared responsibility, talking about responsibility again, and promoting a sense of ownership and empowerment.
Yeah, I want to make an emphasis on the fact the reason why we use a village in a lot of our language um, or tribe. The tribe has a self-sustaining, self-supporting, survival mechanism that they live by, and they depend on each other. And so bringing back that village community or village thinking that you need each other and that you need to communicate, you need to get to know your neighbors, you need to get to know everybody, not just on a name basis, which is kind of where we are now in the world. We need to get to know them on a personal basis, on a human level, on a deep, deep human level, where we understand them. We understand where they're coming from and what their life's all about. And that allows us, once we learn more about each other, it allows us to feel more connected and then to help each other. And last is the long term vision. The community has a shared vision for the future, encompassing social, economic, and even environmental aspects. This shared vision guides the community in efforts and initiatives. So, having a shared long-term vision is really important, I think, for any organization that's trying to manifest and move forward.
Agreed. Got to have direction, or else you just kind of flounder and go nowhere.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, to summarize this section, community can be seen as or community unity consciousness can be seen as not only a state of awareness, but also a dynamic force that propels a community towards collective growth and well being. And it involves a continuous process of building and nurturing connections, fostering positive community identity, and working collaboratively to address challenges and opportunities.
Yeah, next we have the surprising benefits from volunteering. And I think this is really important with our lives busier than ever. That's you and me. I mean, we're
Yeah,
we're really jammed, but it can be hard to find time to volunteer. And so, however, the benefits of volunteering can be enormous. Um, Volunteering offers vital help to people in need, worthwhile causes, obviously, and community, which we've discussed. And then the benefits of volunteering can be even greater for you. The right match can help you find friends and connect with community and learn new skills and even advance your career. Giving to others can also help protect your mental and physical health. Wow, that's a big one. And it can reduce stress. And let's define that. It can reduce stress, combat depression, keep you mentally stimulated, and even provide a sense of purpose. So while it's true that the more you volunteer, the more benefits you will experience, volunteering doesn't have to involve long term commitments or take huge amounts of time out of your busy day. Giving, even the simplest of ways, can help those in need and improve your health and happiness.
yeah, 100%. Just like we were talking about that earlier, and we keep hitting upon these benefits of volunteering, but there's just so many. And another aspect is what's listed as 4 ways to feel healthier and happier. Volunteering connects you to others. You mentioned about making new friends, for example, right? Well, that's great. Making new friends is great. It's good for your mind and body. As mentioned previously, it can advance your career. So, just as I mentioned from personal experience, being in a board of an industry association, that helped. Actually, it even kind of benefited me just last week because of an old connection from that board that I was able to reconnect with.
Let's dig a little bit deeper into that. The first one, the benefits, volunteering connects you with others. Volunteering offers a valuable opportunity to connect with your business and your organization and your community, fostering a sense of purpose and making a positive impact. And see, that's just it. Most people have this attitude of takers. You're a giver, you're a taker. And
Mm-hmm.
so everybody in the business from the top down, everybody's takers. And so everybody's just taken. So
Yeah.
there's nothing left. So when you change that culture, and this is what you and I talk about, the positive business culture or the conscious business culture, which we spend a lot of time on. But when you're changing that culture of that company back to giving instead of taking, it changes the whole dynamic of what the experience is with that particular organization, company, community. So whether contributing in small tasks or more significant efforts, the act of volunteering benefits not only the recipients but also enhances your life and that of your family. So, through volunteering, you can establish new friends, you can expand your social network, you can refine your social skills, you can engage in shared activities with like minded individuals, building strong connections, particularly beneficial if you are new to the area. But additionally, volunteering as a family sets an example for children, instilling values of empathy and community engagement while providing opportunities to discover local resources and activities.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really great. Well, benefit number two, volunteering is good for your mind and body. So there's a myriad of mental and physical health benefits from volunteering. So beyond alleviating stress, like we mentioned earlier, but there's also anger and anxiety that can be alleviated. Engaging in volunteer work enhances psychological well-being through meaningful social connections when you're around people to serve, right? Volunteering serves as a powerful antidote to depression by fostering regular social interactions and building a robust support system. And that act of giving back not only brings happiness supported by hormonal and brain activity that's been researched and proven, but also boosts self-confidence and provides uh, a sense of accomplishment. So volunteers, regardless of age or life situation, find a renewed sense of purpose, especially for older adults facing life transitions. Additionally, volunteering contributes to physical health by promoting an active lifestyle rather than sitting on the couch and watching TV, right? Right. Like get up and do something.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reducing mortality rates and improving daily functioning, lessening the impact of chronic conditions. Cause yeah, if you sit around, you're just, you're not moving your body. It's just not healthy. So volunteering gets you up out of that chair, off that couch, and gets you out there, and that movement helps with chronic conditions. Even individuals with limited mobility can contribute through remote volunteering opportunities, such as writing or web-based tasks, and emphasizing that everyone can find a meaningful way to give back. Just got to look for it.
Yeah, that's great, Craig. Number three, just to cover real quickly, and this is the advanced career or to look at new career opportunities. See, a lot of times what happens when you're volunteering, you meet people and they come from all different walks of life and all different kinds of careers. They get to know you, you get to know them, and they suggest, hey, I got an opportunity, or hey, I have something I think would be really good for you. And so a lot of these things are just the natural evolution. And I want to be careful that we're not advancing that you do one thing for another, that you're looking for to advance your career. So you go volunteer. I think you have to be authentic, and volunteering not only provides a pathway to explore new career options but also offers a platform to enhance essential workplace skills and include teamwork and communication, problem solving, project planning, task management, and understanding organizational structures. So we covered all that, but I think it's really important to understand that when you're really authentically doing this, there's a natural evolution. There's a natural, the universe opens doors. And maybe that's the best way to say it.
That's good.
The universe opens doors that you would sit there and synchronistically, we'd mentioned that you would have no idea, no possible way that that would ever come about and be a possibility for you other than this volunteering, this journey that you take blind. So you don't know where it's going to lead. And that's the exciting part about volunteering is you don't know where it's going to lead, but the opportunities and the things that might, it could even be a relationship might come your way. So that's what's so exciting, not just about being a volunteer, but also the benefits and the value of a volunteer that work extends way beyond the unpaid nature, with many opportunities offering extensive training and enabling individuals to become adept crisis counselors or even art historians or advocates. Moreover, the volunteering allows individuals to leverage existing skills, such as gained in successful sales positions, to benefit the community in honing speaking skills and communication and managing abilities. So just to go back and add a few, new points to what we're trying to make here, it serves as a gateway to test a new career without long-term commitment and providing a hands-on experience to various fields and potentially connecting individuals with professional organizations or internships, which is kind of what I was getting into. Um, in the realm of volunteering, passion and positivity stand as the primary requirements for a fulfilling experience, emphasizing compassion, an open mind, and readiness to contribute wherever and needed, and also positive attitude.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, benefit number four, volunteering brings fun and fulfillment to your life. So, it not only brings a sense of fun to your life, but also contributes to profound fulfillment that goes beyond the act of giving back. It serves as an enjoyable and accessible avenue to delve into your interests and passions, offering a refreshing escape from the routine demands of your regular work or school or family commitments. Being able to spend time and engage in what you're passionate about is just brings about joy. Again, talking about where that energy resides in the heart. Engaging in volunteer work that aligns with your values and resonates with your interests becomes a source of relaxation and energy as well, infusing your life with renewed creativity and motivation and vision. And the benefits of volunteering extend beyond the immediate act, influencing both your personal and professional lives and beyond the joy of contributing to a meaningful cause. Many individuals turn to volunteering to carve out time for hobbies and interests, again, which there's something that they're passionate about. And it might be outside the scope of their daily responsibilities. So it just gives a new sense of purpose and renewed excitement about life.
You said something very important, Craig, which is the joy.
Yes.
And that's so hard to find what that authentic joy is in your life. And volunteering is. It's that one component that offers so much natural, authentic joy. It's part of our human experience. And if you don't volunteer, you deny yourself of some of the joys that are part of this experience.
Yeah, and that's when we're talking about the heart of a volunteer. That energy of joy resides in the heart. So it just
Correct.
yeah, everything's connected, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just
Thank,
so important.
yeah. Full circle, Craig. Thank you very much. Hey, as we wrap up this episode, The Heart of a Volunteer, we're reminded that true service begins with a selfless heart, which is what create the heart of a volunteer, and a deep commitment to something greater than ourselves. Whether through small acts of kindness or a lifelong dedication, volunteering is a sacred expression of love, sacrifice, service, and support.
Yeah, it's also how we raise the collective frequency, fostering unity and becoming instruments of transformation in our communities and beyond. So, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. It's a lot of fun for us. I mean, we're being of service to you, and we get a lot of fulfillment from it. And remember, the heart of a volunteer beats with purpose, compassion, and the courage to make a difference.
Thanks, Greg. Signing off for this episode, The Heart of a Volunteer. Until next time, keep connecting the dots.